The airport gate was loud with rolling suitcases, echoing announcements, and the restless hum of lives in motion, yet one man sat completely still, as if frozen in a moment that refused to move forward. He was alone on a row of cold plastic seats, hands clasped too tightly, eyes fixed on the departure board that kept changing times but never answers. In a place meant for reunions and new beginnings, he looked like someone waiting for something he had already lost. His name was Daniel Harper, a single father worn thin by grief, responsibility, and a promise he wasn't sure he could still keep. Before the story pulls you deeper, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of human connection, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, comment below where you're watching from, and subscribe to the channel so stories like this can keep finding their way to hearts like yours. Daniel had been a father for 8 years, but he had been alone for 3. His wife, Emily Harper, had died suddenly from an undiagnosed heart condition, leaving behind a silence that never fully lifted. Since then, Daniel's life had become a careful routine of school lunches, bedtime stories read with a breaking voice, and late nights staring at bills spread across the kitchen table. His son, Noah Harper, was everything to him, the reason he kept going even when every step felt heavy. This trip was supposed to be a fresh start. Daniel had finally accepted a job offer in another city, one that paid better and promised stability. Noah was already on the plane with a school group traveling ahead for a special program, supervised and safe. Daniel had insisted on putting on a brave face when they separated, but now, sitting alone at the gate, the weight of doubt pressed down hard. What if moving was a mistake? What if he failed again? The airport felt especially cruel that day. Families laughed nearby. Couples leaned into each other. Children ran past dragging stuffed animals. Daniel felt invisible, like a ghost among the living. He replayed every decision that led him here, wondering if being strong for Noah meant pretending he wasn't breaking inside. His eyes burned, but he refused to let tears fall. He had learned that public places had little patience for quiet pain. That was when 3 small shadows appeared beside him. He barely noticed at first. Just a shift in the air, a presence. Then he felt it, a gentle tug at his sleeve. Daniel looked down to see 3 identical girls standing shoulder to shoulder, their matching coats zipped to their chins, their hair tied back in the same uneven ponytails as if done in a rush. They couldn't have been more than 6 or 7 years old. Their eyes were wide, nervous, but hopeful. People passed by without paying attention. Somewhere behind them, an announcement droned on. The girls leaned closer, and though Daniel couldn't hear their exact words over the noise, he understood the meaning instantly from their expressions and the way their small hands hovered near him, seeking safety. They wanted him to pretend. To be something he wasn't, just for a moment. To be their father. Daniel's first instinct was panic. He looked around for an adult, a mother, a guardian, anyone. But the girls stayed rooted, as if they had already decided. Something in Daniel's chest cracked open. He saw fear in their eyes, the kind that comes from being lost or left behind, the same fear he saw in Noah the night Emily never came home from the hospital. Without fully understanding why, Daniel nodded. Not as a stranger, not as a hero, but as a father who knew what it meant to be needed. The change was immediate. The girls relaxed, their shoulders dropping, their breathing slowing. They sat beside him, one on each side and one leaning slightly against his arm. Daniel sat straighter, instinctively protective, his mind racing with questions but his heart strangely calm. People glanced over now, seeing a father with his children, nothing unusual, nothing to worry about. For the first time that day, Daniel felt seen in a way that didn't hurt. Time stretched. The girls fidgeted, swinging their feet, occasionally glancing up at him for reassurance. Daniel stayed still, afraid that any movement might break the fragile bubble of safety they had created. He thought about how strange life was, how in his lowest moment, when he felt most alone, he had been chosen by 3 lost children to be their anchor. He wondered what kind of man he had become that this was possible. Eventually, airport security approached, gently and professionally, and within minutes a frantic woman came running down the gate. Her name was Rachel Collins, the girl's mother. She had been delayed at a security checkpoint and arrived breathless, tears streaming, fear written across her face. When she saw her daughters safe, sitting beside Daniel, her legs nearly gave out. She wrapped them in her arms, gratitude pouring out of her in waves that needed no words. Daniel stood slowly, suddenly aware of how empty his arms felt now that the girls were gone. Rachel looked at him with disbelief and relief tangled together. She thanked him again and again, her voice shaking. Daniel tried to brush it off, saying it was nothing, but inside he felt something shift. Before leaving, Rachel paused and asked his name. He told her. She told him hers. It should have ended there, just another airport story, another near miss forgotten by tomorrow. But life, quietly and without warning, had other plans. Months passed. Daniel and Noah settled into their new city. The job was demanding, the days long, but slowly, stability took root. One afternoon, Daniel received an email he almost ignored, thinking it was spam. It was from Rachel Collins. She had tracked him down through a mutual contact at the airport. She said she couldn't forget what he had done, how he had protected her daughters without hesitation. She wanted to thank him properly. Maybe coffee. Maybe just a conversation. Daniel hesitated for days before replying. He wasn't looking for anything. His heart was still bruised, cautious. But something told him to answer. Their first meeting was simple, awkward, and honest. Rachel was a widow too, her husband lost to an accident years earlier. The triplets, Lily, Emma, and Grace Collins, were her entire world. They talked about parenting, about exhaustion, about the strange guilt of laughing again after loss. It felt easy in a way Daniel hadn't felt in years. What began as occasional messages became shared dinners, park visits, and quiet understanding. Noah adored the girls. The girls never forgot the man who pretended to be their father when they needed one. Daniel didn't replace anyone. He didn't try to. But slowly, carefully, he built something new from the broken pieces of what had been. Years later, Daniel would sometimes think back to that airport gate. To the man he was then, hollowed out by grief and doubt. He would realize that moment wasn't just about helping 3 lost girls. It was about being reminded of who he was at his core. A protector. A father. Someone capable of love even when he thought he had nothing left to give. If this story touched your heart even a little, if it reminded you that kindness can change lives in the smallest, quietest moments, please take a second to like this video, share it, and leave a comment. Your engagement helps stories like this reach people who need them most. And before this story ends, tell us in the comments one simple act of kindness that changed your life, because sometimes the smallest moments at the most ordinary places become the turning points we never see coming.